It was a journey through Africa, but not always the one we expected. Harry and Meghan arrived in South Africa, a country blighted by its history of racial segregation, with a clear statement of solidarity and support.
I am here with you as a mother, as a woman of color, and as your sister.
Then the prince set off across this dramatic landscape, championing his mother's work and his own.
It's been quite emotional retracing my mother's steps 22 years on. Let's finish what was started.
But as this journey wore on, another human story emerged. Of a man still wrestling with the legacy of his background, of his birth, and the tragic death of his mother.
Every single time I see a camera, every single time I hear a click, every single time I see a flash, it takes me straight back.
And of one particular fear, that history might repeat itself as his wife struggles to adapt to a life in the spotlight.
You add this on top of just trying to be a new mom or trying to be a newlywed. And also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay. But it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
And the answer is, would it be fair to say not really okay? This is Cape Town, one of the world's most beautiful playgrounds, if you're rich, and largely still, if you're white. It is only a few miles from the lush gardens and pools of the city's suburbs to the bleak and dusty streets of the townships. Nyanga is the murder capital of South Africa and one of the most dangerous places on earth. So what's it like for you policing an area like this?
Every time when you have to come to work, you must pray that I come back home. Domestic violence, everything. The girls are kidnapped, the girl rape. Every day we wake up with a new story.
There were nearly 300 murders in the Nyanga township in the last year alone. Violence against women is endemic, conviction rates extremely low. All this, it seems, is the legacy of decades of institutional racism. It's not the usual starting point for a royal tour, perhaps, but a symbolic place for the world's most talked-about mixed-race couple to make their entrance. This is Harry and Meghan's first public engagement of a packed 10-day tour. They will use the power of their public platform to highlight causes they are passionate about, hoping to turn the relentless media interest in them as a couple into a positive force for change. It's a simple formula, arguably the cornerstone of the royal family's appeal, but it is being given vivid new form here. They are visiting a charity known as the Justice Desk, supported by the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, which teaches local people about their human rights, but also trains young women in how physically to defend themselves, something that is all too necessary here.
Almost every day we get attacked. Self-defense is really a crucial thing to have.
Men take advantage of women because we are not strong, we're not powerful, we can't fight off men.
Now I can stand for myself when something is happening to me.
I have known Prince Harry for almost 20 years now, in good times and bad, but never at a moment of such change. His new wife has had to wrestle with a new country, new job, new life, new family, new baby. It is an awful lot to contend with. So this trip is a chance to look at the work they want to do and why, but also to see how they're faring in the glare of the spotlight. How are you?
Hey.
So that, I mean, we could only hear, not see that, but it seemed like a pretty positive session because that's an incredibly serious subject.
Oh my goodness, it's the most inspiring. And we just got here, and to see everything that they're doing, but also that it's not just the girls that are feeling empowered, it's all the role that the men and the young boys who are also helping them regain that. There's still a lot of open wounds here, but you see in a community like Nyanga where this is making an impact with all of them and how happy they are to be here and to be with each other. It's a great start.
There's a tremendous fight back from women all across South Africa. You'll be acutely aware of that. I mean, is your job here to amplify those voices, do you think?
I think the role is to listen and to learn as much as we can, but be completely inauthentic to not be here and go, what can we do to help?
The energy is contagious, right? I mean,
but it's just the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. Us coming here is shining a spotlight on something that is doing a group of people, a group of women and a group of men that are doing unbelievable things in a really troubled community. And if we can just shine a spotlight on and encourage other people to come forward, then it's great.
Sorry, Tom.
There we go.
May I just say that while I'm here with my husband as a member of the royal family, I want you to know that for me, I am here with you as a mother, as a wife, as a woman of color, and as your sister.
The Duchess of Sussex spoke directly to these women, her sisters as she called them, in an appearance that would make waves all across the world, but strike a particular chord here in South Africa.
For the people of Nyanga to really know that they are ordinary people, it was exciting. Meghan, everybody knows by now, is a hugger. And I mean, one little boy just got up and hugged her. It was so beautiful.
Almost everywhere you go in Cape Town, the shadows of apartheid are visible. Racial segregation may have officially ended 25 years ago, but the scars it left are evident in the tapestry of rich suburbs, ghettos and townships across the city. If there's anywhere here that truly captures the legacy of apartheid, it's this green field in the middle of the city, the once thriving District 6. In 1966, it was declared a whites-only area. Over time, those living in the district, who were predominantly non-white, were told to leave, their homes gutted and destroyed.
We were once a big family. No matter what race we were, we lived together. But now it's just green pastures, as far as the eye can see.
Ruth Jetha's mother was one of thousands to be forcibly moved from District 6 with her family.
They moved the people of color, and later on they demolished all our homes. And they said, you people of color will never be able to come back to live here again. "50 years later, the sheer presence here of a mixed-race couple at the heart of the British establishment is, to many, a beacon of hope and change.
She's our African princess because she's the first one of color in the royal house, and that makes us really happy.
It's quite a struggle when you grow up as a mixed race child. Either you're not white enough or you're not black enough, so you're in the middle. And then you have to find your identity based on the middle. And with Meghan creating awareness about this, it makes people feel it's okay to be me.
In fact, the youngest royal was about to make an appearance in Cape Town. Again, the setting the couple chose for the first glimpse of their 5-month-old son Archie was steeped in symbolism.
We will be free! Black and white together!
In all the dark days of apartheid, there were iconic figures who carried the hopes of their people. Steve Biko, Nelson Mandela, and the man the young Sussex family are meeting this morning, Archbishop Desmond Tutu.
I think he knows exactly what's going on.
Absolutely.
Hello, how are you? You okay?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a lot with a 5-month-old.
Okay,
but
well,
it's
I was going to
worth
say
it.
tiring.
Well, life is, right?
Life is
but I think
tiring.
any mom can
Parenthood
relate
is
to that.
tiring. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
of
it is.
course. But he's doing really well. He's been
Is
sleeping
he?
really well, yeah.
I just got to start with, that was quite a moment, introducing your little boy to this icon of the anti-apartheid struggle, right?
I know. I mean, it's not lost on us what a huge and significant moment that is. And I think, you know, Archie will look back at that in so many years and understand that right at the beginning of his life, he was fortunate enough to have this moment with one of the best and most impactful leaders of our time. So it's really special.
When I saw you walk into the town, for anyone who remembers the apartheid era, I think that will be, you know, will go down as quite a moment. What was going through your head at that particular point in time?
In Nyanga.
Yeah, when you arrived in this country.
Well, it's my first time in South Africa. And I think you can talk about all the issues that are important to you and really advocate for them, but then when you're on the ground and you're experiencing it and you're seeing what's happening, I think it resonates in a different way. But the biggest takeaway I'm struck by is how much optimism there is. I mean, these women and these young girls especially are really just so empowered, and that's uplifting, right? You go there and you feel it so deeply inside. So it was a really strong start for our trip. It's only day 2.
Yeah. You talked about being a woman of colour, you know, in the same breath as you talked about being in the royal family. And I think people are very interested in your experience of race in Britain and America and being a mixed race couple. And I presume the reason you spoke in those terms was quite deliberate.
I would hope that the world will get to a point where you just see us as a couple who's in love, right? Because I don't wake up every day and identify as being anything other than who I've always been, which is just I'm Meghan, and I married this incredible man, and this to me is just part of our love story. But for me, when I made the choice to add those words into the speech, it was really at the last minute, and I said to Harry, I was like, what do you think if I add this in? I don't know, it just felt right. And he very kindly and supportively said, if that's what feels right, then that's what you should say. Because it's true, like before I was part of this family, that's how I identified with people and connection, you know, as a mother now, as a wife now, but just as a woman and as a woman of color, which has been brought to the forefront in a more prominent way.
Have a great time in Joburg.
Thanks, I'll see you
See you
later.
It was still early in the tour, but one thing was becoming clear. Since Meghan appeared on the scene, there have been a string of tabloid stories, some delving into her family life, others accusing her and Harry of everything from arrogance to hypocrisy. But the story here was to be less about the whys and wherefores, the rights and wrongs, and more about the human impact behind the scenes. If there is one place in Cape Town that captures the diversity of this rainbow nation, it is Bo Cap. Today is Heritage Day. Throughout South Africa, people of all ethnicities are celebrating their cultural ancestry. Bo Cap is home to people from all walks of life, including many Muslims.
Makes for a good Sunday. That is so good.
Every time we do these visits, I always make the same mistake. Someone offers me food and I eat it, and then they go, oh, by the way, it's spicy.
It is informal stuff, But the visit is significant in a diverse area still struggling for recognition.
We don't see Meghan as a woman of colour at all. We don't see colour because we came through a hard period in the past where colour played a major role in a nonsensical system called the Apartheid system. This, and with the royalty coming to work up, makes us feel stronger that our battles are not being ignored. And their presence actually gives us hope for the future.
No, we love it here. But I've never been to this part of Africa. I mean, it's incredible. I've never been to...
It's so diverse. So diverse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's rich in history, but also just the optimism, the hope that you feel, right? I mean, it's just so key because there's so much to still overcome, but at the same time to actively push towards it. And I think it's really an inspiring place to be able to be, and the first place for us as a family on a trip like this to bring our baby.
I tell you what, he clearly loves Africa as well because he was out there looking out the window. He found his voice now. He's bouncing up and down. He's making more noise than he's ever made before.
And he's smiling. We thought he was happy before. He is the happiest here. He's just so chatty the past 2 days.
You got it. You got it. Excellent.
Wait, don't you want to get in as well?
You look good.
After 3 colourful days in Cape Town, the tour party splits and Prince Harry heads north on his own. The focus now is on the issues and charities he has spent many years creating, building and supporting. In the Botswanan bush, where Harry once brought his girlfriend Meghan to introduce her to Southern Africa, the focus is on his long-standing passions of conservation and the environment.
15 years I've been coming here. It's a sense of escapism, a real sense of purpose. I'm able to come down here. Yeah, I have some of my closest friends here over the years. And I came here when I was 97, 98, straight after my mum died. So it was a nice place to get away from it all. But now I feel deeply connected to this place and to Africa.
Here he is supporting the Queen's Commonwealth Canopy, his grandmother's ambitious global tree planting project.
My family plants trees all over the world. My grandmother's probably planted over 1,000 trees, but I'm not trying to take anything away from her. But I don't think anyone's planted a tree this big.
Like his mother before him, Harry is not afraid to speak out on issues some would see as political, but he insists are humanitarian and undeniable, like climate change.
There's an emergency that it's a race against time, and one in which we are losing. Everyone knows it. There's no excuse for not knowing that, and I think the most troubling part of it is that I don't believe that there's anybody in this world that can deny science, undeniable science and facts. Science and facts that have been around for the last 30, maybe 40 years, and it's only getting stronger and stronger. I genuinely don't understand how anyone in this world, whoever we are, you, us, children, leaders, whoever it is, no one can deny science. Otherwise, we live in a very, very troubling world.
The pace of the tour is unrelenting. And that same day, we find ourselves on the Chobe River as Harry joins the Botswanan Defence Force on poaching patrol. This is a great journey in many ways. But aside from the very public engagements, there is a private emotional undertow that becomes more visible as we reach the next country. Angola is a nation 5 times the size of the UK, devastated by 40 years of brutal war. With relentless military campaigns on both sides, it became one of the most heavily mined countries in the world. At the height of the conflict, dozens of people were maimed and killed every single day. After the war, tens of thousands of live landmines remained a constant threat to ordinary Angolans. In 1997, months before she died, Harry's mother, Princess Diana, came to Angola to draw attention to the devastation that landmines were still wreaking and the desperate need for clearance. Here in Wambo, she walked across a minefield in front of the world's media and was criticised by some for being too political.
I'm only trying to highlight a problem that's going on all around the world. That's all.
It's been said, though, that you're aligning yourself with Labour policy. Do you think that's wise?
Labour? I don't know what you're talking about.
The images of her trip became world famous, and 3 months after she died, the Ottawa Treaty was signed, in which 122 countries agreed to stop the use of landmines as weapons of war. Harry is continuing his mother's work here with the demining charity, the Halo Trust.
What we do is very simple. We stop people being killed by landmines. We give jobs to lots of people who would be unemployed. And once we've cleared the land, we turn it over to agriculture. The really evil aspect of this is the fact that decades after the war, they're still killing people, children, innocent civilians, and we've got to get rid of these things.
The ambitious aim is for Angola to be free of landmines by 2025.
Quiet! Silencio! Firing!
Landmines are an unhealed scar of war. By clearing the landmines, we can help this community find peace, and with peace comes opportunity. Later today, I will visit Wambo to see the place where my mother walked through a minefield in 1997. Once heavily mined, the second city of Angola is now safe.
Prince Harry cuts a somewhat lonely figure as he walks down the same street his mother made famous, now cleared of mines, developed and returned to normal life.
It has been quite emotional retracing my mother's steps along this street 22 years on, and to see the transformation that has taken place from an unsafe and desolate area into a vibrant community of local businesses and colleges. Let's finish what was started. Let us consign these weapons to the history books for good.
Around 88,000 Angolans are still living with injuries caused by landmines. The vast majority of victims now are civilians, and nearly half are children.
Eu me chamo Manuel Tutu da Costa Valas. Nós fomos na lavra do meu avô e trazer rama. Depois começamos a apanhar gafanhotos. Depois, dos meus amigos pegou, entregou no mais velho. O mais velho começou a brincar com ele. Assim, tenta mudar as costas, aquilo também já arrebenta.
Manuel was treated at the local hospital here in Wambo, visited by Princess Diana.
Princesa Diana veio como uma lufada de oxigênio naquele esforço que o governo estava a fazer para sair do pós-guerra. Sobretudo para aquilo que é a nossa cultura do Ambo, uma pessoa bastante simples. Fazer transmitir às pessoas a esperança de que alguma coisa pode melhorar.
If there was a single image that captured Diana's visit to Angola, it was of her with 13-year-old mine victim Sandra. "22 years later, Harry is meeting her.
You still look as young as you did in those pictures all those years ago.
She is now married with 5 children. One of them is called Diana. Today, the hospital in Wambo is being renamed in memory of the princess.
It has been an honour to retrace my mother's steps today. I lost her 22 years ago. The memory of her is with me daily, and her legacy lives on.
It had been an emotional few days, but it was increasingly clear to me that Harry had been under huge strain for much longer than that. Last year, I had to take some time off work to wrestle with my own mental health issues. And as I watched Harry here, it was obvious to me just how much pressure he felt under and the toll it was taking on him.
The focus is inevitably on your mum. We've talked about grief a lot in the past, you know, on film. We've also talked about it a lot privately, I think it's fair to say. Do you feel at peace in a way yet, or is it still a sort of wound that festers?
I think probably a wound that festers. I think being part of this family, in this role, in this job, every single time I see a camera, every single time I hear a click, every single time I see a flash, it takes me straight back. So in that respect, it's the worst reminder of her life as opposed to the best. Being here now 22 years later, trying to finish what she started, yeah, it will be incredibly emotional. But everything that I do reminds me of her. But as I said, with the role, with the job, and the sort of the pressures that come with that, I get reminded of the bad stuff, unfortunately.
I've known you a long time, and
too long.
Yeah, I'm good. Both getting older. It seems to me that you are under a lot of pressure. It feels like I don't know whether there's a little bit of worrying about your wife being under the same pressure as your mother was under, but I feel like you're living in this goldfish bowl. The interest is huge. The pressure is great. I mean, do you want to talk me through the last year and where you're at?
I think you probably, slightly hit the nail on the head. My mum clearly taught me a certain set of values, of which I will always try and uphold, despite the role and the job that sometimes that entails, if you know what I mean. But I think I will always protect my family, and now I have a family to protect. So everything that she went through and what happened to her is incredibly raw every single day, and that's not me being paranoid. That's just me not wanting a repeat of the past. And if anybody else knew what I knew, be it a father, be it a husband, be it anyone, you'd probably be doing exactly what I'm doing as well.
How do you deal with that pressure, though? Because we've talked about mental health a lot in the past. We talked about, for those who don't know, I was off work last year. We talked about it a lot then. Do you feel like you're managing it, or do you feel like it's just hard every day?
It's management. It's constant management, as you know, and as a lot of other people watching this probably know as well. I thought I was out of the woods, and then suddenly it all came back, and I suddenly realised, actually, no, this is something that I have to manage. Look, part of this job and part of any job, like everybody, means putting on a brave face and turning a cheek to a lot of the stuff. But again, for me and for my wife, of course there's a lot of stuff that hurts, especially when the majority of it is untrue. But all we need to do is focus on being real and focus on being the people that we are, and standing up for what we believe in. I will not be bullied into playing a game that killed my mum.
It has been a year of big change, with all the complications that brings. This includes the decision to split his office off from that of his brother, to whom he's always been close.
There's been a lot of talk in the press about rifts with your brother. How much of that is true?
Part of this role and part of this job and this family being under the pressure that it's under, inevitably, stuff happens. But look, we're brothers. We'll always be brothers. We're certainly on different paths at the moment, but I will always be there for him, and as I know, he'll always be there for me. We don't see each other as much as we used to because we're so busy. But I love him dearly, and the majority of the stuff is the majority of stuff is created out of nothing. But it's just, as I said, as brothers, you have good days, you have bad days.
It's families for you.
Whatever your thoughts on this modern royal couple, you have to have the hardest of hearts not to be impressed by the causes they are championing here. Malawi is the 4th poorest country in the world. Here, the Queen's Commonwealth Trust, of which Harry is president and Meghan vice president, is working with the Campaign for Female Education, helping to create a network of future female leaders. Women's education is perhaps more Meghan's specialism than Harry's. She was back in South Africa promoting other causes, but still found a way to join the conversation. The singing, the dancing was infectious. And for the women, this was a hugely significant visit.
It was amazing, and to be honest, to have both of them in the room physically and virtually is incredible.
Do you sing like that all the way through class every day?
Oh, this was just 10% of what we do. Because for us, music provides that unifying point. We're not just singing for show. We sing because it says we are together. It says we can rhythm. It means that we can speak in the same language. It means we can express all that pumped energy in us. So yes, we sing. Yo, yo, yo.
You can feel here why Harry is energized by spending time in Africa. His passion for the continent is not new. It is something I've witnessed all his adult life. 15 years ago, I made a documentary with the teenage prince on his gap year in Lesotho, where he was continuing his mother's work with children with HIV.
I don't know, I believe I got a lot of my mother in me, basically. I always wanted to carry on my mother's legacy as much as I can. I don't want to take over from her because I never will. I don't think anyone can. But I want to try and carry it on to make her proud.
The public donated a large sum of money off the back of the film to help the children it featured. Harry then decided to create his own foundation, and 15 years later, it is thriving across southern Africa, helping people whose lives have been blighted by HIV and AIDS. Still, he feels his work is not done.
I'm never sort of like, yes, tick, right, we've done that, because once you start something like that, you've got to see it through. But look at there's still so much to do. I never end up becoming satisfied with that. I always want to try and do more, try and raise more, and I think that's potentially an unhealthy way in this kind of a role, in this kind of a job, because you're never really satisfied. I'm not proud until, in my mind, that we've actually really made a difference. That, for me, is the definition of success.
One look at Harry's Africa schedule and you can see he's determined to make this tour count.
Having killed the animal, it is then a race to remove the ivory using axes.
We are now more than halfway through, and he is visiting Liwonde National Park in Malawi.
Using hand signals, patrol maintains covert in order to remain undetected to the poachers.
As president of African Parks, Prince Harry has worked with the Malawian government to forge a collaboration between British forces and local rangers. Today, they are staging a joint demonstration on tracking poachers. The official schedule now says Harry has an afternoon off. In fact, he is visiting a local school funded by African Parks, whose work now goes beyond conservation to support local communities.
I will go to the library today. I went to get...
The idea to give local people the chance to benefit from tourism so they're directly invested in conservation. He is 4 countries and 26 official engagements into the tour now.
He jumps up. He is very quick. He has a fish in the net. He has a fish in his net.
This tour is it's gone down obviously particularly well back home. It's been exhausting, yeah. Well, if you will pack it in,
Everyone says, well, you've only got yourselves to blame, and there's other people who think
no, listen, you'll do.
No, it's true, but we've traversed across Africa, right?
Yeah.
We've covered an incredible amount of distance. We've met a hell of a lot of people. And the programme has been insane. I mean, you said to me on day 3 or day 4, it's like, why do you cram in so much? There's a hell of a lot to do. And, you know, a trip like this, because it's official, overseas work, you know, we need to make sure that the money that's spent on a trip like this, that it's worth it. For the UK government, worth it for the British people, so they can understand the impact that we're trying to have.
What's interesting is that you are clearly very passionate about the values you espouse, and like we've seen it all the way through this trip. I guess the thing people are trying to work out is just the jigsaw with the, you know, is this the new royal family? Is this how you see it? I mean, is there the new way of doing things? How does it fit into everything?
No, I don't think there's a new way or an old way. I think we're certainly not trying to lead the way. We're trying to do what feels natural to us, and you know, and try and be, you know, well, not try and be, just be authentic.
There is a reason Prince Harry has always loved Africa. To be at the heart of this great continent is to feel far away from the stresses and pressures of the Western world.
Listen, it's been really obvious on this tour your love of this continent. I mean, is this a part of your future, do you think? Do you intend to spend more time here, even live here perhaps for a while?
I don't know where we could live in Africa at the moment. You know, because it's come from Cape Town. That would be an amazing place for us to be able to base ourselves. Of course it would. But with all the problems that are going on there, I just don't see how we'd be able to really make as much difference as we want to without the issues and the judgment of how we would be with those surroundings. I think it's a very hard place to live when you know what's going on, but then you're sort of, again, slightly disconnected from it. So, look, the rest of our lives, especially for our life's work, will be predominantly focused on Africa, on conservation. You know, there are 19 Commonwealth countries or something across this continent, so there's a lot of things to be done. There's a lot of problems here, but there's also huge potential for solutions.
If Africa offers an escape from the pressures of public life, that was about to end in dramatic fashion. On the penultimate day of the tour, Prince Harry released an official statement in which he announced that Meghan was suing a newspaper for breach of privacy. Alongside it, a scathing critique of the British tabloid press. The media thought the couple had gone mad. After such a successful tour, why blow it up like this? But this is a couple that feel themselves on a moral mission to challenge what they believe is wrong, determined, as Harry said, not to be bullied. He would go on to launch his own legal action against 2 other newspapers. In Johannesburg, the final engagements continued as planned.
We will firmly stand up for what we believe. We are fortunate enough to have a position that gives us amazing opportunities, and we will do everything that we can to play our part in building a better world. Ever since I came to this country as a young boy, trying to cope with something I could never possibly describe, Africa has held me in an embrace that I will never forget. And as I raise my own son, I want to make sure that what I've learned here, the value of the natural world, the value of community and friendship, is something that I can pass on to him.
It was an end to the trip full of emotion. Harry's wider attack on the tabloid press, a result of the tears his wife has shed and the echoes it has of his mother. That final evening, I had a chance to dig a little deeper with Meghan. This has been quite a journey, really, one way and another. And up in the bush, I did talk to Harry about, I don't know, the pressure you're under. It's clear from last night's statement, the pressure you're under. You talked about the pain behind the brave face. I don't think a lot of people really understand what that is. So perhaps you could just give us an idea of what the last year has been like. I guess that's a where would you start question, but give it a go.
It's hard. You know, I don't think anybody could understand that. But in all fairness, I had no idea, which probably sounds difficult to understand here. But when I first met my now husband, my friends were really happy because I was so happy. But my British friends said to me, "I'm sure he's great, but you shouldn't do it because the British tabloids will destroy your life." And I very naively, I'm American, we don't have that there. What are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not in tabloids. I didn't get it. So it's been complicated.
I talked to him up in the bush, as I said, about sort of mental health and the impact on his mental and physical health. And, you know, he's obviously very concerned about protecting you and protecting you from what he felt his mother went through. It's obviously an area one has to tiptoe into very gently, but I don't know what the impact on your physical and mental health of all the pressure that you clearly feel under.
I would say, look, any woman, especially when they're pregnant, you're really vulnerable. And so that was made really challenging. And then when you have a newborn,
It's a long time ago, but I remember, yeah.
You know, and especially as a woman, it's a lot. So you add this on top of just trying to be a new mom or trying to be a newlywed. It's, well, I guess, and also thank you for asking, because not many people have asked if I'm okay, but it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes.
And the answer is, would it be fair to say not really okay? As in, it's really been a struggle?
Yes.
Look, the pressure you're under is pretty obvious. It's been obvious to me in a sort of growing sense really throughout this tour. And before I started, I kind of knew, obviously, some of the picture, but not all of it. So can you put up with this? Can you deal with it? Can you manage it? Can you continue with it? And what happens if you can't?
You know, I've said for a long time to H, that's what I call him.
Yeah.
It's not enough to just survive something, right? Like, that's not the point of life. You've got to thrive. You've got to feel happy. And I think I really tried to adopt this British sensibility of a stiff upper lip.
It has its, advantages, I guess.
I really tried. But I think that what that does internally is probably really damaging. And the biggest thing that I know is that I never thought that this would be easy, but I thought it would be fair. And that's the part that's really hard to reconcile. But I don't know, just to take each day as it comes.
Now, the counter-argument, as you know, is look, you have this incredible power, you have this privilege, you have this fame, you have this wealth, and that comes with scrutiny, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. How do you counter that argument?
If things are fair, that completely tracks for me. If things are fair, if I did something wrong, I'd be the first one to go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I would never do that. But when people are saying things that are just untrue, and they're being told they're untrue, but they're allowed to still say them, I don't know anybody in the world that would feel like that's okay. And that's different than just scrutiny. That's, what would you call that?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
well,
a different beast. It's really a different beast, you know. And I think the grass is always greener. You have no idea, you know. It's really hard to understand what it's like, but I know what it seems like it should be. It's a very different thing. That's okay. The good thing is I've got my baby and I've got my husband, and they're the best, so.
Well, listen, you're tired. Thank you very much.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, it's the end of the trip. It's time for you to go and have some peace
thank you.
with Archie.
Thank you.
Lovely
Thanks
to see
for
you.
being out here.
Okay, well, it's been
an
fascinating.
adventure.
It's been an adventure.
Thank you,
It's been a
guys.
journey.
Safe travels back.
Okay, and you too. Thanks a lot. Meg.
Bye. I'll see you guys.
Take care. Thank you.
The tour was, by any conventional measure, a success.
It's really an inspiring place to be able to be, and the first place for us to bring our baby.
It is hard not to find the causes and people the couple championed inspiring. So much hope in such slight circumstances. But as our eyes turned homewards, I found there was a great deal to reflect upon. Yes, this great continent may always be a part of their lives, but as to what the future holds more generally for this young family, well, that seems a much more open question. If taking it one day at a time does not prove enough, if this is existing, not living, what then?